Before America became a marketplace with a flag, it was founded on the belief that ordinary people could do extraordinary things when united by principles. Patriotism meant contributing to something bigger than yourself, without any guarantee of reward. Our history isn't perfect, and it wasn't inclusive of everyone. There was still exploitation and inequality. However, people did have a sense of purpose, rooted in responsibility, rather than convenience. During the Revolutionary War, farmers, merchants, and craftsmen, people who had every logical incentive to mind their own business and avoid conflict, risked their safety, their savings, and sometimes their lives, not for a paycheck or a tax break, but for an ideal most of them would never personally benefit from: self-governance. They fought not because it was profitable, but because it was meaningful. They were fighting to build a country they would never fully experience, and they did it anyway. And virtue was abundant during World War II, not just in soldiers on battlefields, but in the daily lives of civilians who rationed sugar, rubber, and gasoline, who planted victory gardens and bought war bonds out of modest paychecks. They accepted discomfort and inconvenience because the collective mattered more than individual desire. The narrative wasn't consume to do your part, but sacrifice to do your part. Or take the Civilian Conservation Corps during the Great Depression. Millions of young men left home not to climb a corporate ladder, but to restore forests, build trails, and prevent erosion. Patriotism then meant taking pride in creating something that would outlive you and would improve the lives of strangers you would never meet. And with the Civil Rights Movement, Black Americans confronted violence, humiliation, imprisonment, and death solely because they believed the country could and should hold to higher values. Finally, the Apollo program reflected a society that valued collective curiosity worth years of extreme effort, risk, and public spending. The moon landing wasn't advertised as a purchase. It was celebrated as a triumph of imagination, discipline, and collaboration. Proof that what held Americans together wasn't what they owned, but what they could do together. I'm not romanticizing the past, but recognizing that there was a time when American life felt meaningful, where people had a clear source of identity and pride, rooted in contribution rather than accumulation. Next, we'll see how that purpose has been diluted, redirected, and monetized until citizens became just consumers. The shift, turning patriots into patrons. The shift from patriot to patron culture didn't happen because Americans lost their morality or became lazier. It happened because the people in power, in government, in industry, and in advertising, discovered that a population motivated by ideals is harder to control than one motivated by desire. A citizen who wants to serve the country asks questions and expects accountability, but a consumer who is only concerned with buying things asks for faster shipping and lower monthly payments. I believe this shift began after World War II, when the United States faced the question, what do you do with a society that has been conditioned for sacrifice and high civic engagement once the war is over? They could continue channeling that energy into public projects and democratic involvement, or redirect it into something more profitable and easier to manage. The American industry decided for us when they realized their manufacturing engine was capable of producing unprecedented amounts of goods. So they persuaded the public that buying those products was not a luxury or a pastime, but a duty. Freedom became the freedom to choose between brands. Success became square footage, and security became insurance policies and retirement accounts. The language of the marketplace began to take over the language of citizenship.